Hi, my name is Tom Flax, and this is my EDL 853 Module 3 Special Education Interviews. Uh, the people I interviewed for this assignment were the principal for Harrington Elementary School. His name is Nick Morgan, and he in his first year at Harrington Elementary School. The special education teacher that I interviewed was Casey Keycafer, and she's been at Harrington High School for several years. And the paraprofessional I interviewed is Kyle Barton, and he is the paraprofessional in his first year at Harrington Middle School. Child find procedures. Well, the principal at Harrington Elementary School discussed the quarterly benchmarks that our elementary school has MTSS programs in math and language arts, and so they do quarterly benchmark testings in Dibble's Next with it, which is like the reading, and then the Dibble's math. We also do have a sit team, and that consists of several people, and they monitor and several students that way as well. The SPED teacher talked about the CKCIE website for early childhood development. So if you go to that website, she said that that's the co-op's website, and in that website you can find the early childhood indicators. She also talked about when she at the high school level and even middle school level, when she worked at the high school or when she worked at the middle school, that they have sit team to identify students that were that have a need or are at risk. Paraprofessional, I was not aware of any procedures. Being new, he's only in the first couple months of being a para. He realized that he does not know any procedures for the child find aspect. Most challenging part of their role in special education and why. Our elementary principal is in his first year, and he was an assistant principal in his previous job. So he, admitted that he's got a lack of experience in dealing with the SPED program. It was not a part of his role at his previous school. He was that just wasn't a part. The principal dealt with the special education. He dealt with 504 plans and such. He's still trying to figure out, what his role is. Our district has outsources to another district for our special ed, so he's just trying to figure out what his role is right now. Our SPED teacher, most challenging part of her job is having to be an expert in all her courses. She's recently moved up to the high school after spending several years at the middle school, and so now she's got several different classes, courses that she's needing to be an expert in, and needing to understand all the standards and things like that in order to provide the best accommodations for each student. The most challenging part for para is patience and compassion. At first he didn't know the kids and what their home lives were like, and he knew, he thought, man, these are some rude kids and very disrespectful, but after getting to know them and building relationships with them, he realized that, it goes much deeper than that, and, there's a reason why they're acting the way they're acting. The most rewarding part of the job, when dealing with students, parents, and other teachers, the principal at the elementary said that the most rewarding part is when students meet their annual goals repeatedly. And when that happens, they're, the team and special ed team can recommend them to be exited from the special ed program. And he said it's rewarding because that is the culmination of all the hard work and effort specifically designed for that student. and it was practiced effectively and not only bought into by the uh, teachers and staff, but also the student. SPED teachers, her most rewarding part is seeing progress. Uh, she said that getting thanked by students or parents for helping their child is something that was very important and very rewarding. And just talking with regular ed teachers about her students making progress and having success in their classes. Um, the paraprofessional, his most rewarding parts of the job is making a difference in people's lives. He stated that this is the only job he's ever had that meant something to more than just me or him. And he also talked about just light bulb moments uh, where there's kids are doing something, they're struggling with something, and all of a sudden, boom, they get it, and the light bulb goes off. You know, he sees it in their eyes, sees it in their smile, their actions, and he's also stated that it's more rewarding than any paycheck that he's ever got. Advice on supervision of special ed staff. Um, for the principal, he pretty plain simple said follow the law. Don't get in trouble. Don't get the school in a lawsuit. Work hard. Trust your professionalism. And he said, don't worry about stepping on anyone's toes. And what he meant by that was, um, do your job. And if you see something that needs to be done, do it. And if someone's not doing it, then you need to do it. And we're here for the students, so we need to do all we can to help, whether they're identified as SPED or they're a regular ed student. Special ed teacher on advice and supervision of SPED staff is, um, be active and come in and see what we're doing. So as far as principal, principal come in and see what's going on, see what they're doing, see what they're working on, um, and just be seen. The paraprofessional's advice is just to work as a team, make sure that everybody's on the same page, and especially when not always are paras working with the same student all day. A lot of times the paras, especially in our middle school and high school, they're working with different students throughout the day, and so each hour they might have a different student that they're or student or students that they're working with, and so everybody needs to be on the same page when it comes to that. How do they effectively work with parents? Uh, as far as the principal and SPED teachers, very similar. They both think communicating is very important. Our elementary principal says you need to be transparent, meaning you just can't be hiding anything. You need to be, when you're talking with the parents, when you're talking with the staff, you need to make sure that everybody's on the same page and everybody's hearing and seeing the same things. The teacher, is working with this child, and the principal needs to be loyal to the teacher, especially when they're making decisions about the education of the child, because they're the ones that are with them throughout the day. SPED teacher, again, I said communication is very key to working with parents. She also said listening to the parents. They want to be heard. They want they want someone to listen to them, because a lot of times they feel like they're left out. And she also stated that they're the experts on their child. They know what they are about and how they act. So they're the experts, and they need to be listened to. And again, the paraprofessional, he's only been working for a couple months, and he hasn't had any parent interaction, so he wasn't, sure how to answer the question. How do they work with regular ed teachers with students with special needs? The principal said he encourages communication with special ed staff and make sure that they understand, the regular ed teachers understand the expectation, the goals of the SPED students, and also that the teachers, also that they teach and approach, each student the same way, whether they're special ed or whether they're a regular ed student. Special ed students don't always like to be uh, called out. I don't know what the right word to say is, but they want to be looked at as a regular ed student. So, it's very important for teachers to approach them as they would any other student. SPED teacher, communication again, very important. Check to make sure, you know, they want to check with the regular ed teachers, make sure they know what they're doing is working, and if they need any help, they want to know if they need to help the regular ed teacher at all. Paraprofessional, he said he focuses on the kids he's assigned, and if a teacher needs help, he's there for them. Advice for a first year principal: uh, listen and learn, came from our principal. And he said, being vulnerable is never a bad thing. He goes, if you don't know it, don't fake it. It's very important that, because that you very easily get in trouble if you think you know something and you say the wrong thing. So, you know, understand that you need to be, uh, you know, learn and figure out what's going on. Special ed teachers, she said, know the policies and procedures, be upfront on how discipline will handled. We've got a new high school, middle school principal, and so last year, last several years, we've had a lot of issues with discipline. So, she really wants to know how discipline will be handled, wants it to be firm, consistent, and wants the principal to communicate with her and her staff. And the paraprofessional said, first year principal needs to create a team environment. Uh, rely on teachers and staff that have been there to help. And don't try to change things overnight. Describe the role of the SPED teacher and building principal. Um, he approaches SPED teachers the same way as regular ed. They got to have professionalism, and he's got to have trust in them. You know, everybody's a teacher. Doesn't matter if you're special ed or not. Yeah, drop all the labels. And it's important, we're all here to do what's best for kids. SPED teacher sees building principal as her boss, even though her coordinator is her true boss. But she wants constructive criticism from her building principal. The paraprofessional sees the SPED teacher and building principal. He sees that the coordinate with the SPED teacher coordinates with the paras to design the education plans for the SPED kids, and the principal's job, as he sees it, is discipline the unruly kids, and also to look out for the teachers and the staff. What characteristics do they seek in aspiring administrators with regards to special education? Uh, Pretty simple, special or similar with the SPED teacher and the principal. They want a good communicator. I want a good listener, someone competent, supportive, and fair. The paraprofessional is, he thinks that he's figured out that paras are different from ordinary staff. So he'd like to see patience with the paras, because a lot of times they're dealing with these kids with all different types of you know issues, and they're being pushed to the edge, and so he'd like if they're understanding to what they're going through on a daily basis. All right. Thank you.